It's gonna bring revenue to Blackstone, something that I haven't heard much done of yet.
You know what?
I can roll pretty quick through the rest of these, Mr.
If you don't mind, will you take
Please,
up
it's
the,
already 9
Well,
o'clock.
who did that with that hour conversation?
902 Second Street is gone. We are now working on 911 Church Street. And we've met with the family and some of the family. I don't think they're happy about the enforcement efforts, but this is a one-story white frame house and the roof is collapsing.
That's Reverend Thomas' house.
It's Mr. Thompson, if I'm not mistaken. It's not in good shape, and we met with the property owners and didn't go very well, but we'll hope for better times in the future. Last item, we believe this week there will be a closing at 301 North High Street. The property owner has notified us they've moved out. And we believe the money has been wired from the buyer, and we hope to see a demolition of that house. There's no salvaging the house at this point. It's literally walls collapsing on the outside of the house. So we hope to see that happen. The developer will not require a rezoning for his intended use. It is R2 zoning, and it would allow townhouses. I believe 4 are certain, depending on the size and dimension and the yard requirements. A 5th may be possible, but I don't think there's more than 5 possible right there. Okay. Moving on. Meals tax, lodging tax. Ashley's here and Brittany are here if you have any questions regarding that. And I think there is some information regarding the delinquent account.
With meals tax?
Mhm.
Just in collection of tax.
Tax has it, and they're going to proceed on with the attempted collection. If we can't get that done, then I will come see you about further enforcement action.
What's the next? When would we hear? When tax? What's their deadline that they're supposed to receive something?
They haven't given me an exact date or deadline, but the collection process is it starts with them mailing notices, having to give them so many days, calling the customer by phone. They
So
did tell me.
several months.
We sent several notices with no positive response to this point.
They'll give me, as soon as they have an update, they will give me.
Didn't we as a council already vote on pursuing what you speak of?
I don't think you guys, I can't remember if the council decided we're gonna do it, but if we're good to go,
6 to
then
1, I think.
if we can't get anywhere with tax, then we're moving forward. All right, moving on. Street improvement, blessedly, there's nothing to report. Very expensive. Wigglesworth, I don't have anything to report right now. Mr. Miller, do you have anything to add about a date you wanna have an event over there?
Glad you brought that up. I'm gonna have to talk to Chief Murphy too, but what it is, the kids on spring break, November the April the 1st through the 5th. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a neighborhood cookout for the kids. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up rocks and everything that's on Wigglesworth Field so we can get it ready to go because, hey, these parents are beating us up about it. So that's our plan, and I went to Walmart today to see if they, I have to get, Mr. Bryant to write a letter to them stating what we're doing. So, and she even said that they might even give us some volunteers. So, that's the plan. The Wednesday, the kids are on spring break. We'll get the time and all, and I'll talk to the chief and see what we can do.
Very good.
Taylor's Bottom Block Grant, as you know, we've received a $60,000 grant to work in Taylor's Bottom area. Facilitated planning session, as referenced in this award letter, was held on February 14th. I think there were 2 items that were specifically to be turned in a timeline and a budget, and those have been done. And I think Chastity continues to work with them, and we expect to receive formal agreement and present that to you for acceptance.
That, just 1 second and I won't take long, I promise you. Mayor. But, Wigglesworth, has any progress been made on the concession stand work? None? Okay.
If not, we don't play football until July, so we're going to shoot for July.
We play football. Our first game is September the 10th.
And we will certainly be ready. All right, Armory. Project is proceeding with demolition, masonry, and roofing. We have our first scheduled progress meeting March 7th. Up to this point, we are discovering significant water damage to structural components that must be repaired. It is a mess in places over there. Okay, town staff tore out the ceilings over there, and there is a tremendous amount of rot in the building. I have received today, I think, Chastity printed them off for me. The first of what I expect to be multiple change orders, and the amount of $97,000 to replace structural components. Do I have the money? I do not, but we have no alternative but to repair the rotten wood that is no longer usable. The first of many, I suspect. Okay.
It's an old building.
Hmm?
It's an old building.
Thank goodness we paid that line
Neglected
of
old
credit off.
building, yes.
Hold up, man. Here we talking about money. Here we even talked about $200,000 tonight we gotta
No,
spend.
we just talked about putting a kitchen in, which, trust me, I want, but we can't even, the building's falling in. I feel like we probably ought to be soliciting more grants in lieu for this kind of stuff.
We're looking for grants. That's what we're doing. At the end of the day, guys,
$250,000
be realistic. The people of the town said we want to spend $2 million on a building. We've got you to the threshold of spending nothing. Okay? Nothing. If we can fulfill, I can't say a pledge, but our intention, congratulations, we did it. If we can't, I'm still going to need to come to you for some money. Okay? And I know you don't like it. I don't like it either, but I can't renovate the armory without a kitchen, and I can't renovate the armory with rotten floor joists. Just got to do it, man. Okay?
You need a motion to approve that?
No.
All right. You're on the armory. You wanna talk about, new architectural firm?
Yes. So you know, part of that $500,000 what we're working on, we took the outside elimination of whatever that is, plaster or whatever on the outside of the building. We've got to finish the inside of the building. The guts of the building have to be done first, and we took that out of the project. Okay? What is still in the project, the town has to pay for, and that's what we're trying to get this $500,000 for, is the painting on the interior of the building, finishing the floors, and the kitchen. And that's what we're trying to accomplish right now. As Billy said that, you know, there was some dispute. There's no dispute. You ain't got the money to do the outside. We got to finish the inside first. And the quote that I typed out for Billy was, the council can make a determination in the future what they want to do as far as the exterior of the building. It's not a debate. It's not controversial. There's just no money to do it. Okay, we've got to finish the inside of the building first and foremost. And you can see we've already got a change order. We're a month into this thing, and I've already got a $100,000 change order. Not positive. Okay, and I expect multiple more. Okay, based on if what we've seen so far is indicative of the roof above the stage, expect ditto. Okay. And the only reason we know this is because we went down there and ripped all the ceilings out. Town staff did. And that's why we could see what there was. And I mean, it's just been water dripping there for 30 years and leaking roof. And I mean, the floor trusses are rotten, so we got to fix them.
About the architect.
Those items that are not addressed in the current architect's scope of work, and I'm not crazy about the architects we have. I think they're not as aggressive as I'd like them. I think they're more passive with change orders and that sort of thing. And if it makes you feel any better, I rejected a $360,000 change order already. Plaster finishing in the building, okay? And so you guys received some emails and comments from town employees that didn't like scraping plaster off of walls. We saved $360,000 by sending town forces down there to scrape plaster off of brick walls, and we're just gonna paint those brick walls back. That $360,000 was to put the plaster back on those brick walls, and we're not gonna do that, okay? So those are the kinds of things I would have an expectation the architect would be ahead of. He's not. He's just presenting what the contractor is saying. So we're actually acting as the arbiter of what is possible. So I don't want to pay them any more than what they've got. Okay, we're too far ahead and too far along. We've got a handle on this thing, and I've told them change order is only approved if it's holding the roof up. If it ain't holding the roof up, we'll lose my number. Architect forgot to put a water fountain in. Wanted us to pay $9,700 for a new water fountain. I said, that's not going to happen. You pay for it. You forgot it. You pay for it. All right? We're not paying for their errors. Rotten wood that you couldn't see, that's to be paid for, okay? But we've been presented with almost $500,000 of change orders. 97 is what I've approved.
When we get these items, and so it sounds like you're acting as project manager.
I am.
Can you send an email out to the council as a whole, just because I've been confronted by certain members of the community, and of course, then the paper has it out. When we remove something from it, I want to at least just be able to know so I can answer back as to why the exterior.
I mean, you can tell everybody why is money.
Yeah,
I mean, we'd love to make it crazy good. And yes, I'll be happy to inform you and building grounds, but I'll report after every progress meeting. But the end result is anything that's left out is because you can't afford it.
how much are we paying, are you saying to stop paying the architect?
No. What I'm asking you to do is let me hire somebody to design that kitchen because I don't want those guys making any more money off you than what they've already made. And that would come out of that 121,000 plus any other.
Do you have to
Revenue.
do an RFP?
I think I do. And I'm asking them authorization to issue an RFP.
You've heard the manager's request. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Miller moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second, to allow the manager to put out an RFP to hire an architect to design the kitchen,
And handle the floor ceiling,
floor ceiling.
painting, and whatever is decided on the exterior of the building,
Outside the scope of the original contract.
outside the scope of the original project.
For the armory. For the armory.
Armory, yes ma'am.
Any,
Yeah, but didn't we just talk about $140,000 that we have some left over from?
Armory Group's got $40,000, as I'm told. So maybe they could make a donation to help pay for some of this as well.
Well, I'm talking about from the budget items we discussed earlier.
That 140 going to ditch.
I'm not sure I'm tracking.
If we're looking for, this is why we really need to talk about.
Oh, instead of ditches, put it in the armory, I get you.
$100,000
I'll let y'all
left over trying to
hash that
spend
out.
it on other ditches when we can't finish projects that we put $5 million.
I don't think he's saying take away Fourth Drive.
No,
Oh,
I'm
no,
not saying that at all.
no,
I think he's talking about the surplus after that.
yeah, the one he committed to 2 years ago.
You talking about taking away all
Before we got on.
Yeah, but then again, you also put $5 million into that project and put 200,000 in the ditches, so, I mean, it's a big difference there.
any other discussion? Ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, to allow the manager to put out an RFP for a new or additional architect, indicate by saying aye.
For design of the kitchen.
Yes.
Kitchen,
Outside the
painting,
scope,
outside the scope of your existing building. And if there is monies available to do the outside in some form or fashion, whatever's decided, whether it's brick or paint or whatever council decides they want to do.
any more discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries 7-0. Mr. Manager, number 7.
Nothing to report on weatherization, and I do want to report, based on our current fiscal situation that we're finding ourselves in with the House Bill 906, I'm going to make no recommendation to fund weatherization this coming year.
Any discussion, council? Moving on to item number 8, the workforce housing.
Workforce housing, we have the two houses that are still under construction, one on Broad, one on Dillard. I put in here May 1st, we have an expectation that people will be occupying, which is probably not terribly pessimistic or not too far out. So hopefully before that. It's our expectation, once both of those are closed, that we will put 2 more houses out to bid. And it's our expectation as well that the property that Southside Outreach is buying on Tavern Street from Mr. Hill would be the location of those two homes. And that'll leave a third lot if we get back into something else or we have another program where a lot is needed. But we will have 3 lots available to us through Southside Outreach.
Item number 9, proposed roundabout water relocation.
Nothing, and you probably won't hear anything about it for quite some time.
All right, we'll move on to new business. Item number 1 is a reconnect policy. Manager Benoit, can you brief the council?
I think Jennifer has put a reconnection policy that we're currently using. But she highlighted 2.
I'm sorry, this is the new one. I'm sorry.
Right. But she's added, highlighted 2 areas that she wanted discussion on, the first of which we would like to, instead of it saying the meter being removed, we'd like for it to say disconnected, okay? As long as there hadn't been current going into the house for 6 months. But right now it says the meter is removed. And item number 2, Jennifer, help me with what's different when this versus the other.
It used to say in person, correct, and now we've added.
Oh, we're allowing fax or email, okay. And
To approve 2 changes.
Mr. Nash moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion?
As So, well, yeah. So I'm concerned about item number 4. I'm fine with the changes Jennifer did, but changing that word to disconnection, you know, especially what's going on with the new bill. I don't want, and I'm not saying this, I don't think you would do it. I think we discussed this earlier today, and I don't think this council could do it, but future councils or future town managers, may turn around and ask, you know, for an inspection in order to get a power turned back on a regular non-payment disconnection that's only been off for 3 days or 5 days or 7 days. I'd like us to put a time, at least a 2-week time frame on that number 4 there. Just so, you know, hey, in response to the 60 days you got to turn off, but since you didn't pay, we're gonna make you get an inspection. You know, I don't want that to ever happen.
Well, Mr. Page, we have a motion and a second to adopt the policy as presented. If you would like to offer a substitute motion, I would entertain that at this time.
But now bring in my concern to council and see what they think, and then possibly could offer a secondary motion if they don't wanna amend theirs.
Well, the purpose of you making a motion is to continue discussion. So,
We're in discussion right now.
any other council members want to weigh in? Are you finished, Mr. Page?
All right, I'll make a secondary motion that we approve the policy and then we put a 14 days on number 4.
Is there a second? Hearing none, that motion dies. I'm gonna revert back to the main motion, and that is to accept the reconnect policy as presented, and Mr. Nash has moved and Ms. Nguyen is second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 6-1. Item number 2 is the water leaks on Broad and F Street, Mr. Manager.
Both of these homes, one on Broad Street, one on F Street, both homes were connected when we reconstructed water lines in the neighborhood. That was part of the first phase, if I'm not mistaken. So they've been done about 3 years, and both of them, same issue, a coupler disconnected, ironically, at approximately the same time. The actual warranty on the home has expired, but because our contractor made the connection about 3 years ago, I had Andre go ahead and make the repairs, and I don't think they were terribly significant repairs, some digging and doing some other stuff. We will delete the additional sewer charge because I can confirm both of them went in them. I mean, one of them just had a pond in their front yard. I'm asking you to relieve the water leak portion of it at least to something reasonable instead of it being in the tens and hundreds and thousands of dollars. If council would see to it, maybe make it equal to their typical average monthly bill.
Question. This here happened in my, all right, I wouldn't vote on it. But this here is a problem that the contractor.
Correct.
And Andre even said himself, he had to go back and make remodifications now because of that. So I don't feel that these people should be held reliable for that bill. Because
Are you abstaining on the vote? Are you going to abstain on the vote?
I'm gonna stay on the vote, but
Then you shouldn't participate in the conversation either.
I had a question.
Yeah.
When we build these homes, how much of a warranty do they get?
1 year
20
On
year
one-
warranty?
workmanship.
That's from the town or the contractor?
from the contractor.
Why are we doing his?
Because we're nice. Because we're nice.
Well, if we did the work, he should be able to pay the bill. Not the homeowner, but the contractor should cover the bill. I mean,
I can certainly try to collect it if I can. But in the meantime, we got people with big old Mongo water bills. I can try to collect it from the contractor if I
So
can.
I see one bill, so if you're already saying take the sewer off, it's, $297. So then the water bill is $297 as well. What's the other bill? Is it the one up here that's highlighted that is, $1,616?
Correct. The property owner knew something was going on, or the gentleman that lived in the home knew something was going on, but it ran for a long time. I was the one that found it. The hell of a water leak. And when asked about it, the gentleman that lives in the home said, "Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. I don't know why I didn't call us or whatever." But
which house you talking about?
Broad Street.
All right, so you've heard the manager's request is to, adjust these bills to the average usage, 3-month average?
And to address Chris's question again, the warranty's for a year. I don't think I can get a contractor, but I will talk to him and see what I
Are
can do.
there inspectors on these projects that are looking at these items?
Mhm.
I mean,
Andre?
if it's a shoddy job with a coupler put in the ground and it's happened in 2 houses, obviously the inspector's not doing their job.
Right.
Is this B and B?
It was Robbie Williams, if I'm not mistaken, B&B's inspector, yeah.
I mean, I also have another, project on here on South Main Street repair at Rick's Auto where they didn't compact the ground correctly and the inspector was B and B.
Correct. And
I
the
think,
contractor is responsible to come back.
I think we need to talk to our inspector.
We fired the inspector, if you need to know. I cut him loose because he did an atrocious job on South Main Street. I was doing the inspections on South Main.
Drive down South Main Street.
He did an absolutely horrible job, and we've severed any relationship. We didn't hire him; he was brought to us by B&B, and I informed B&B he's not to come on any town projects.
I moved just because of the fact that we obviously hire poor contractors and I know they're low bids and all that, and we obviously don't inspect our inspectors don't do it. That it's kind of one of those things where we have to, that we reduce it to the.
And please understand too, sometimes things happen.
Yeah,
South
two
Main
of them.
Street is inexcusable. South Main Street is absolutely inexcusable. This, maybe less so, but South Main Street is inexcusable for the contractor not to have got the
That's
compaction.
on my list to talk about in a few minutes.
All right,
You
Mr.
said a
Nash,
3-month average?
What is that? What is the 3?
Water and sewage?
76.
The sewer already goes.
Sewage
They're
gone.
gonna pay their minimum sewer.
Yeah, they'll pay minimum sewer.
Minimum sewer.
Minimum sewer.
okay. Mr. Nash has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman seconds to reduce these bills to a 3-month average. Any discussion?
Not including these months, but yeah, a regular 3 months average.
I ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries 6-0-1. New business number 3,
I've-
D&V addendum, Mr. Manager.
The addendum to our current DMV contract requires now that DMV do the background checks for our employees, and as with most things, they take a tremendously long time. We've been doing the background checks. They're talking about a month to get background checks. It's just poorly handled, and as with other things with DMV, just not very timely. But if we're going to continue with the DMV, we have to agree to this addendum, which they do the background checks, and an employee, even if we hire to collect utilities, is not allowed behind the counter for 5 weeks until they finish certain trainings with DMV. It's complete train wreck bureaucracy.
I just found out something else. Another employee, which would be another person on the counter, would have to sit with this person for the 5 weeks during the training.
So you got 5 weeks of wasted
Waste.
labor.
Double
The
pay.
new hire and another employee.
Complete waste. And if we want to have a DMV, but I will tell you the Finance Committee is going to probably hear a proposal to eliminate DMV as well.
Simply be only doing town payments.
No, behind the counter.
Well, they could, but then they wouldn't have time to do the training. They have to, the 5-week training is all-day training for 5 weeks, and another employee who already works for DMV has to assist them with the training. So it'd probably be like Holly and the new hire.
We can't separate counters to where one does DMV and where one.
I'm not allowed behind the counter unless I sign a sign-in sheet. Because DMV demands that any employee behind the counter or who has access to behind the counter has to sign a sign-in sheet, which we don't do.
Let me ask you,
And we're probably not going to do all this stuff. But if you want to continue DMV, and you lose money every day on DMV, you lose money on DMV. But it is a service that nobody else is offering.
How
So
much money do we lose on DMV though? is the question.
you collect about $32,000 a year, and that probably pays the majority of the salary of one of the ladies out there, but not benefits or any of that kind of stuff. So DMV, you're supplementing having a DMV office there.
you have a deadline on this?
It was due last Tuesday.
Yeah, it was due in February.
Car dealership should take over the DMV.
All you new down there in Nashville, you got a building open right now?
Oh,
Car dealership.
And then Brittany was saying, explaining also, if you hire this person, they have quit their job, you give 2 weeks, and then They may fail the background check.
And you gotta fire them.
then they can't work.
It's,
So we're gonna
it's,
background check our current employees, because we may have issues there.
No, it's.
it'll be a new one. Is after February 14th, or whatever the deadline was.
Yeah, I think the main issue is the 5 weeks of training. I have two main people now that work the counter. If I have a new, say someone quits, I have a new hire. That takes both people off, it would leave me.
It's a train wreck.
So what
Train
employees
wreck.
feel
Really
about,
don't have time to do that.
But I mean, you gotta prove it, right?
If you're gonna continue with DMV, I hope in our negotiations this year we'll find an alternative to the town run DMV because it's a good service, but it's a complete mess.
they won't let,
We can't do the
can't do it anymore?
DMV has to do it, they're mandatory, we can't do that.
I would put this on par with House Bill 906.
Members of council, you've heard the report from the manager. What's your pleasure?
Move to sign the addendum that's presented.
Didn't you say the deadline had already passed?
I told him it had to be approved by.
We didn't have a council meeting.
Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Almond has second to authorize the town manager to execute this agreement. Is there any more discussion?
other than the labor expenses,
We'll do an expedited 5-week training.
other than labor expenses, are there other expenses?
Maintain the equipment. We've got to
Right.
do all that kind of stuff. You have office costs and all that stuff. What percentage of your walk-in traffic is DMV?
90%.
Bam. 90% of the people that come into that office are DMV, so they're really the ones that are time consuming for us to deal with. Majority of other people are mailing in bills or sticking them in the Dropbox or
And all
doing it
those-
online.
Are those folks generally from Blackstone, or are they from surrounding Richmond?
Mr. Page, I
Right.
promise you I'm not picking on you, but that sounds like a discussion for another day. I have a motion and a second
Well,
about this addendum.
pardon me,
And if you wanna add it to the agenda, with that time is set too, so.
pardon me,
I'm gonna-
Mr. Mayor, I'm still on topic and asking questions about how I'm gonna vote, and these questions decide whether I want the manager to execute this agreement or not. So I'm gonna
give you a little
continue to ask
leeway.
my
Can you
questions.
continue?
You said they were mostly from Richmond?
Yeah, mostly Richmond, Chesterfield, Dinwiddie area.
Thank you.
I mean, we do have Blackstone customers.
Yeah, well, there's some though, but a majority of them are not
Yeah,
from,
they're usually once a year coming in and renewing their tags.
okay, thank you.
Mostly title work from out of town.
Dealer work.
We were the only DMV that didn't close during the pandemic, and she got slammed because everybody in Richmond found out and they would bring titles and stacks of work and
Any more discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye to approve, this addendum and executed by the town manager.
Aye.
Alright.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries 6-1. Item number 4, Lakeview Cemetery, annual cleanup.
this is purely informational. The first week of March every year, we take every flower and decoration out of the cemetery. This year, I'm probably going to start a big mess about it, but we've never been contacted by anybody to install Confederate flags in the cemetery. I know it's going to be controversial, but our policy clearly says it's got to be a local organization approved by council to put flags in. These flags are exempt from the annual cleanup in March. No one's contacted us about putting Confederate flags in the cemetery, and since Betty's passed, there have been no American flags other than maybe a family or something. I would like to only take up the Confederate flags and leave the American flags in there. And if there is an organization or group that wants to address council, they're more than welcome to do so based on what the policy says. But nobody contacted us last year, and I just haven't taken them down. But it's my intention or my expectation that I would take them down when we're doing this cleanup, unless deemed otherwise. But whoever put those flags up, and I don't know who put them up because no one contacted us about it.
How many? I mean, I don't.
200. 150. That better? Maybe 150 of them in there.
I don't frequent the cemetery, so.
I go every day.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'd like you to tell me if you're agreeable with me taking down the Confederate flags.
You've heard the manager's request. Is there a motion?
And the Confederate Sons of Confederate Veterans can petition council, as our policy says. They want to put them back, they're permissible, but I'd like to take them down now.
Do we know who put up the American flags?
No one organized has done it. It's really just been families. And I've been taking them down as they get kind of ratty and lawnmowers hit them. There's not very many American flags, sadly, in the cemetery. It's probably 10 to 1 Confederate flags to American flags. And Benilla.
Is there a motion?
I motion that the town manager go ahead and execute the removals.
Second.
Ms. Nguyen has moved, Mr. Page is second, that authorizes the town manager to remove Confederate flags. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries 7-0. I don't have, any additional committee referrals, and hold on to your seat, but I don't have anything in the mayor's room. You have the police report in front of you. Is there any questions while Chief Murphy's here?
I would, I know, don't look at me like that. Anyway, yeah. There has been, I've been approached by a couple of people about, Jan's residential residence carrying on up there near the race inn alongside Grab and Go and whatnot, and, sounds pretty bad. I mean, it's a lot of really
We
sick,
have a presentation for you,
bad stuff going on.
fairly shortly.
Okay, about
James Residential.
That's cool. But in the meantime, while these guys are coming out there doing their thing alongside the building, that would be something we would hope that we
Chief,
could
can
tighten,
you
we
look
could tighten
into
up
that?
on a little bit, you know? That's all. I appreciate it.
Anybody else?
When we have this presentation about change, next meeting?
Tonight,
Oh,
tonight, closed session.
Closed session.
Members of council, I'm tired too. Members of the audience, now is the second opportunity for citizens to speak to the council. Is there anyone that would like to come forward?
Yes, sir.
Please do, state your name and address for the record, please.
Deborah Damon, 204 Southwest Avenue. I actually can probably stay within your 3 minutes if you take notes on my questions and then answer them all when I'm done. Is that good? So, first one is, why did I just have to give my address? Because hello world out there that's taping me now know where I live. I know you probably need to know that I'm a town resident, so that I have the right to be here to talk to you, to ask you questions. But I'm
gonna
curious.
answer as many questions as you can.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
really concerned about the town limit.
Okay.
You are engaging, that doesn't seem right.
Okay.
All right, it's part of the council policy, number one, and number two, if it's on tape, we can go back and refer. The clerk could need the information, or the manager, myself, or a member of council would like to contact you. It's just a matter of procedure that we have it on record.
Okay. It's just in this sad world of safety and personal information and stuff, I've just told the world where I live. So somebody out there might like me a little too much or not like me enough. So that was just a curious question.
Mine, I think that's a good point, and next time Health and Ordinance gets together, I'll ask Chairman Allman to take that up.
Okay.
Very good point.
Something that you talked about tonight was a previous council. As you know, most of you should know, I'm a new resident, so I'm learning about my new home. A previous council made promises, made a motion to do something about flooding in the neighborhood, and now that's not being done. If I understand why, it's because they said, yes, we're going to do this, but then they didn't follow through and fund it. So therefore, I can understand why you are not doing it, and you have the right to not do it. But I did like Mr. Page's idea that maybe you need to give them a little more due notice or discussion versus just saying, hey, we don't have the money and we can't do it. Because what Mr. Miller said about the integrity of your body means a lot. And so just because if the previous council did something and promised something, I know you are handcuffed into having to do that. If you can't, or if they made a mistake so that you cannot follow through, I think there should be a little bit more than, well, we can't afford it, so bad luck. So maybe there could be a little bit more credence given to what Mr. Page and Mr. Miller said about that.
If you don't mind me addressing that, no, I appreciate all your questions, they're great. This council is a continuing body. That being said, that, anything done prior to the new council remains, unless the new council decides that they don't wanna go that route. The council can revoke or change or amend or whatever action that they want to do on a particular item. So it is a continuing body, but that stuff carries over. With that being said, council last month could have said we want to paint the water tower purple and voted 7-0, and then the manager said, y'all have lost your mind, it's gonna cost extra, blah, blah, blah. They could come back and make a motion to rescind that and paint it white.
Correct. And I understand that, but this sounds like it's a little bit more serious than that. And it would just tick me off personally if it were me that I thought this was going to be done. And there could be, and again, I understand why, you made perfect sense as to why you cannot do it. So that's not the issue with me. It's just the way you're now, the way it's going to come across on the TV screen tonight. Just like, well, sorry, we just can't do it. Suck it up. I think we can be a little bit.
May I quickly interrupt? I think you've got two different issues, and I know you were trying to follow along, and it was confusing. The town council voted to pipe in a private ditch, not that it's flooding. It was more an aesthetics issue.
Gotcha.
And that was voted on. The flooding issue is on public side of things, in
Gotcha.
portion, and on private, two separate issues. But what the council previously, or the last council voted on, was a private ditch that a citizen simply made a request. I'd like you to pipe in the ditch because I don't like the way it looks.
Right. And then I might have been a little upset that it was passed, if that was the case. So on the trash information, I'm a new resident. I spoke with all of the employees in the office about being a new resident, what I had to pay for, what I had a choice about, what I didn't have a choice about, whether I wanted trash, whether I didn't. They made it very clear to me what was and was not expected, what I had to pay for. So if you have people who are just putting their trash out, and you're assuming maybe they don't know about it, nuh-uh. If you got people out there getting free trash, I'm paying for my trash. I want everybody to pay for my trash, for their trash. So, right. So I don't think we should just assume that. I'm glad you're sending out the letters, and I'm also glad that you're addressing it. But we get great trash service, so I just wanted to say thank you to the town or the trash people or whoever. Since we've been here, we have best trash service we have ever had in all of the many places we've lived. One curious question, I do not know about 906 at this day. 906, I think that was the number. And I know that you had a reconnection policy, so I don't understand all of that. My question about the whole debacle, or train wreck, as the manager says, is, okay, if somebody does go through all of that and then does wind up getting disconnected, which would be sad for anybody that happens to, what happens again when wintertime comes and it becomes lower than 32? Do we then have to reconnect them regardless?
Once disconnected, we don't have to reconnect.
Okay, all righty.
Disconnect. In the summer, it's over.
Correct.
It's over 40 or 92, and in the winter.
I got that. I just wondered what happened when it got cold again. If they're just going to sit there, they need to know that they can't just sit there and wait, and that they're going to get reconnected when it gets below freezing again.
Once disconnected, we'll have to work to try to get them reconnected. But unfortunately, I think their bills are going to be so big by that point. I don't think they'll ever get
Correct. I found your Facebook site by accident and because of something that one of the council members said at the very first meeting that I came to. So I do follow it. I do read it. I appreciate the information that goes out. I am a late night person, which is another reason I'm a little worried about giving out my address on the air. And so I was very worried that I thought I had a problem in my new old house with plumbing when I was using my bathroom at 3 o'clock in the morning and the water was brown. And so my first phone call was going to be to the town offices the next morning, but I read the Facebook page first and I saw that there was hydrant flushing. And so I assumed because my water was now clear again the next morning, I'm fine. However, I read that it says you recommend we don't do laundry when that's happening. Am I okay to drink that water when that's happening?
I would not recommend washing your clothes because it'll stain your clothes.
Okay.
But as far as a health issue, no, I don't think you have anything. We still have to take back T-tests. We have to do all those kind of things. But the reason we put the notices out is not a boil water alert or a health issue. It's because don't wash your clothes.
Okay.
Because if that water's red, guess what your clothes are going to look like?
But if it does that to your clothes, do we really know what it's going to do if I'm ingesting it? And your response was you don't think. Do we know for sure? I'd like to know if I can drink the water when you're flushing the hydrants, because I am up at 3 o'clock in the morning safely.
I'll tell you this, when we do those hydrant flushing, I have outside yard hydrants, and when I had an outside dog, I'm twice a day getting the water, and it would start out brown, and it was just a matter of seconds.
Correct. Yeah, my water was fine by morning. I
wouldn't drink the brown water, let the water run, and it couldn't take a minute to get that fresh water.
okay. Well, the thing of it is, if there is any possibility, then maybe the recommendation should on the website should not be just not washing clothes, but I didn't know if I should drink it.
I think that's what the health department says. I don't know that information
Right.
specifically, but we haven't got any failures. So.
I put in a request for a streetlight change that was out last week. It's the first time I actually had to call and say, help, I need something. And it was done within 2 days. That would never have happened in the city of Chicago where it came from. So thank you very much. And then my very last question is, I think it was last month, you had a discussion and it was about a personal person, and it may have been the last thing you were discussing about the persons with the large sewer bills that you are helping with. But you talked about how there was an atrocious amount of water that was being wasted because this person wasn't fixing the problem, and you were going to be discussing how to get that person to fix that. And I didn't hear if that was addressed tonight. Is that water still being wasted, or is it now a personal matter and that's why you're not discussing it publicly?
No, it's no longer being wasted because we put a lock on the meter and they're not allowed to consume water from the town until they get it fixed.
Okay,
And to
terrific.
date, we have no indication that it's been fixed.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we weren't having water going
Can I
crazy.
address that, Philip?
Yes, you have the floor.
She's out of the house.
She's out of the house?
Okay,
Cause I spoke with her, last Friday. Yeah, I spoke with her I went there, cause she's in my ward on Fall Street.
that's all I had. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I know it's late.
So we
Thank you.
appreciate you. Very, very good question. Anyone else wish to come and speak to council? Ms. Ames? How are you this evening, Bev?
It's been a long day. I've listened to you guys talk about
Name and address for the record.
Beverly Ames, 4th Street, Blackstone, Virginia. I've heard you guys talk about how tight money is, yet we continue to give money to the Juneteenth committee. That's $5,000 that could be put into some of these other projects. Granted, it's a small drop in the bucket to $500,000, but it's a start. I have a question, since Chastity's still here. You said there was $17,000 you made last year, plus $4,100, and it's going to cost you more than $2,100 plus the $5,000 to run a one-day event? Why?
Because the price of things go up, and then different people charge different things for entertainment. We also have multiple DJs. We have over 8 different performances per stage. Plus we have, things we have to purchase for the event outside of just entertainment, as well as insurance and different things. Things go up in price each year. We have cost estimates, and we're trying our best to get sponsors to help cut those costs, so that way we don't need to come to the town meeting. That's the issue we have playing.
Why are we not scheduling and running by a budget? But you've already gone over your budget, and you're asking the town for the 4th year in a row for an additional $5,000.
Ms.
No,
Ames,
I'm
I'm giving you some leeway. Number 8 of our public comment policy states all comments and questions are to be addressed to the mayor and town council unless otherwise directed. I think y'all should have a personal conversation.
well, I just wanted to make sure my numbers were correct with her. So,
It's not appropriate.
okay. Then closing on Main Street. Closing Main Street causes those businesses to be closed, and that's tax money, tax revenue that comes into the town for that one day. plus the fact that those businesses lose money. So that's something else that having an optional place to put this. I know that Mayor Colburn said we could put it on Main Street. I don't think he looked at the future, the fact that what it was going to do to the businesses.
That's why I asked for it to be looked at strongly for next year, that once that project's complete.
Thank you. And then, is this going to continue to be an expense the town takes on? And does it need to be asked for every year if it's going to be a continuing thing? Or is it just something that should be a budget item?
That's a good question, and I won't speak for the council, but I will tell you that it will be requested. It'll have to be requested, and it will have to be approved by, an affirmative motion.
But if we're making this an annual item every year, does that not become a line item?
No, this is at council's
Discretion?
discretion.
Okay. All right. We talked about, at one point, being good stewards with the town's money. And although I was on the original committee for Juneteenth, and I have nothing against Juneteenth as a holiday and what goes on, I just feel like we need to be a good steward, especially with the tight budgeting that we're looking at, the budget we had already decided for 2024-25. And then we continue to give out. And it's not just Juneteenth. We did the same thing for the chamber, for the fireworks. We need to look at tightening our belts. And this is where being a good steward with our money comes from. We can't get our citizens to do it if we're not doing it from the council level. All right, thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Ames before she leaves the podium? I'm sorry to have to quote that rule on you, but thank you so much for your.
I just wanted to make sure my numbers were correct because I know what it took to run the Arts and Crafts Festival, and this just feels like it's extremely high.
Well, we appreciate you. Any other visitors to come before the council? Hearing none. This concludes tonight's meeting that deals with items that are handled in public. We are now gonna go into closed session for two items: personnel, town attorney, and briefing by staff on legal matters. Madam Clerk, would you please read or state the appropriate motion to enter into closed session?
Yes, if we could get a motion to go into closed session under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A. For personnel, town attorney, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. And under legal matters, consultation with legal counsel, and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation or briefing in open meeting could adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body.
Is there a motion for such?
So moved.
Mr. Nash moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. I'll ask for a roll call vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I said roll call and then did the other. I'm tired.
You sure did.
It doesn't